to be here tonight. And yeah, basically I just want to talk about the REPLA system, which is a shark deterrent system that I've designed over the last 8.5 years. The REPLA system is an electromagnetic device. We actually got into this space. I'm a board maker of close to 40 years, and basically 7 years ago we had 6 fatalities within 12 months, and we decided that there was obviously a need for an effective and a user-friendly shark deterrent. So we started the journey on REPLA, and REPLA is this is where it's come to from here. So it is a small device which is a plug-and-play system, and this system is a small device which is mounted into a socket in the surfboard, which you can see here. It's in between the fins, and it has a small electrode up near the nose, 1 meter apart. Now, this creates an electromagnetic field which the user doesn't feel while they're surfing. It also deters any sharks that come within 2 meters of the board. It's actually it sounds very close, but to be honest, the sharks will actually detect this device before the 2 meter range. We found that it has an effective stopping range of around 1.5 to 2 meters. And it sounds very close, but when a white shark is charging, 1.5 meters is actually quite a significant difference between losing a leg or not losing a leg. It is one of the most user-friendly systems available, and that's what our main target has been, to obviously stop sharks and make it a user-friendly system for surfers and water users. It can easily be mounted on your board when the board is manufactured, or it can be located into the board after as a retrofit in anything, basically most watercraft. So getting back to its credibility as far as efficiency, we have 2 white papers that are available, and we have been researching this, and we do continue to research this with a number of species of sharks around the world. We have quite a big team of scientists that are independent, and they actually are continuing with the science, but at present it has white papers to validate its efficiency. We have a number of pro surfers using it that have approached us, not the other way around. They're unpaid pro surfers that actually use the system because they are happy to use it, they're confident, and it doesn't affect any performance in the use of their surfboard or their stand-up paddleboards. Also longboarders as well. We do have some bodyboarders using it. It's not what we recommend, but we do have other water users using it. It's simply recharged. The device is fairly lightweight. It weighs around 200 grams. I'm not sure the ounces in this, but it's a simple plug-in system. You can plug it into your car, cigarette lighter, like your AC wall adapter, or your DC plug in your car. So it simply takes 3 hours to charge fully, and it runs for 4.5 hours to 5 hours, depending on the salt water. So simply plugs into the socket like that. And the best thing about this, once that socket's installed in all your boards, you can just plug and play from board to board. It's very flush mounted. You don't know it's in the board. There's no drag. And as I said, we have a number of pro surfers that are using it, and they've actually requested the product themselves. We have not approached them. Yeah, it's as user friendly, and we've made it as effective as possible. So we are really happy with this being able to protect surfers around the world. We have over 3,000 people already using the system over the last 6 years, and we haven't had any surfers being approached by sharks, and there hasn't been any interactions where they were unprovoked. So yeah, we're really happy with the way it's performed, and even happier that it works.
So that's sweet, thank you. So imagine people are wondering about the technology itself. So I know that you said it creates an electromagnetic field.
Yes.
And so for sharks, like maybe a dog, is that similar to like an ocean guardian type feel for them on their morans and all that, or?
Almost like the most varieties of sharks, or most species of sharks, deterrent actually works on. There is a few that it doesn't work on, but these sharks have been, they haven't been aggressive sharks or sharks that have been involved in any fatalities or any human injuries.
Dave, I know you. Can you hear me, Dave?
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead. So Dave Daglio,
Yeah.
I'll just introduce you as a gentleman from Truro, Mass, which is right up the road from us. And Dave, I know you have some of these installed for your children and yourself, so we're happy to have you joining. But Matt Gage did just ask a question, which is, how does the antenna connect tail to nose? Let's just make sure we cover that as we go. Dave, jump in.
Yeah, I was just gonna. You know, Dave, you have these things all over the world. I know you've put some in Reunion Island and what have you. What are your kind of conceptual learnings about it so far? You know, repeated use, lot more surfers rather than less using devices, etc.
So Dave, we've had some of this through the night where Dave locks up, so he will rejoin quickly. We have a system for restoring this. Yeah, here he comes. Hello. Apologize. It's just the way it is. It's long distance, Mom would say. Dave should be back in a minute. Here we go. Hey, Bob Wagner, thank you for joining. Just a little technical issue, so hang in with us. We're just doing some Q&A with Dave Smith. Hey, Dave. So Dave Dagley, some questions, so I'll let you jump on those.
So getting back to you, Dave, about the surfers that have used the system. Earlier on, we had a product which was called SurfSafe, which is the original repeller. Now, this system was one electronic device per surfboard. It was built into the board. The issue we faced with this, or as far as surfers didn't like having to have one device for each board. So that was where we actually spent the development and the time in producing a plug and play, or one that goes between board to board. It was very hard for the French in Reunion Island, which is our biggest market. It took them a long while to warm to the idea of using one of these products. But so far now that market has been absolutely huge. We've found more and more people have been happy with the product, talked about other products they weren't happy with, and it's just been spreading huge, just word of mouth and user friendliness. That's what's put on. So the French government have also done their own study on the product and produced a white paper, and they are happy that it's going to reduce the risk of an attack. The main problem species there has been either tiger sharks or bull sharks. The people in Reunion have definitely now taken this up in a huge way.
So our primary concern here is white sharks. So I don't know if you might have a comment in that regard.
With white sharks, the main species that we were dealing with originally in Australia was white sharks, and all our research has been focused on white sharks for the last 6 years. There is a white paper available online, and I'll send that link to you, Heather. Now this is all, actually, I think you already have that white paper. We definitely know that the most the biggest issue you have in Cape Cod is white sharks, so we know it is effective with them.
Yeah, so you have confidence there.
Yes.
So a couple questions. Let me just roll back, Dave Daglio, if you're okay with that. So Matt asked a question about the antenna piece. So if you might just maybe give us a little visual on how the antenna is connected tail to nose. Oh, we lost Dave again. Jim Papadonis, maybe the reunion folks were reluctant because they're French. We'll ask Dave when he comes back. And we're back.
Okay. So this is the socket, which is obviously known. This is our housing, and this is a cable. Now the cable has a small loop on the front. This is fed through the board. You can either put this into a new board when it's made, or it's very simply pushed through with a stainless steel rod, and this rod will horizontally bore a hole through the board without any disruption to the actual surface of the board. Once it's pushed through to the front, it's connected with a small stainless steel electrode plate, and this creates the actual output antenna.
Matt Gage, does that answer your question? Do you feel clear there? Matt, you can just type in the chat yes or no. And we have a couple more questions coming, so that's cool. Matt says he's good. So Jim's wondering two things. One is we noticed that you said Reunion Island was reluctant, and I understand it's a French territory, but we just wonder if you might comment on what the reluctance was about.
There's been a lot of in the early days, there was a lot of theories that these products actually attracted sharks. And so I think that was their main fear, that what I understood there. There is some belief that some of the frequencies that are available to the market, some of the deterrents available to the market, have a frequency that do actually attract sharks. There's no science behind this, but out of the 3,000 systems that we have, and I can see that over 1,500 of those are in Reunion Island, we have not had any increase in interaction with sharks and surfers over the past 6 years.
Yeah, and there's a lot of sharks there. We know how severe it is there. We're pretty familiar. So another question too. We heard a comment as you were in your introduction that the REPLA was in fact a deterrent for a charging shark within 2 meters. Is that something that, was there drone footage for that or anything? Kind of tell us more about that.
Look, that's what I've observed when I've been at sea on the research trips. And this we don't have any actual footage of that. But look, it's easy to get that once it's more research gets done.
So that was firsthand testimony from gentlemen, folks that were surfing.
Yeah. No, sorry. That's in a research situation, a controlled environment. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Dave. If multiple surfers in the same area are using the REPLA device, what happens? Does that, make it safer, less safe, etc.?
Oh, look, we don't have the science behind that, but we do know that the sharks do pick up the frequency at a longer distance than when you actually will see the shark. And so definitely we would presume that a number of these devices, the sharks will detect that frequency a lot further away.
So Jim, I think Dave Smith, we did cover this, but Jim Papadonis asks if anyone has been attacked in any fashion with a REPLA installed. I think
no, we have not had any. We actually have had people that have seen sharks in the vicinity and have had sharks approach them in an environment where there was already a shark in the area and a lot of people. And we've spoken to those people that have been involved in those incidents, and not one of those people had a shark actually charge them or attack them or injure them.
Thank you. So your primary user base is today in Reunion and Northern Australia. Is that true? Western Australia?
Yeah, sorry, it's actually in the southwestern Australia.
Okay.
And also we have quite a lot on the east coast where we had a lot of juvenile white sharks and quite a number of attacks on the east coast of Australia. So we have a lot of people up there with a lot of waterways, actually river mouths where they have a lot of juveniles breeding nets and a lot of attacks from there. So we do have a huge user base on the east coast of Australia as well. The Union has been a really fear-driven where the people won't surf without some sort of deterrent.
Jim, is that good on your question? And then Matt Gage is asking about price point. And then we should probably talk a little bit. Matt Gage is someone who has a little inclination around getting involved with doing installations, perhaps himself, but perhaps with others.
Oh, look, we would be absolutely right to get anybody to install over there.
So Matt is asking what the price point is.
Oh, so the price point?
Cost?
Yeah, so the actual housing itself, the retail value on this product here is $50 Australian, which is about 30 US, I think, just for the housing kit. Now, once this is installed, it's around about 70 US dollars to install it. So you're talking around 100 US dollars for the actual non-active system installed in the board.
So $30 for the box, $70 estimate for someone to do the installation, and
Correct.
And then what about the device itself?
The device itself is around 300 US dollars.
300 US dollars. Okay. So you can go board to board with a $30 box and $70 for install, and then $300 for the one device that would go on each of those boxes.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, does that answer your question?
Dave, are you having any success in working with the board manufacturers to install it at manufacturing time?
Look, it's currently there's a huge there's a surfing boom worldwide. The manufacturers have been installing it, but currently they're a little reluctant if it slows any mass production down. We have a lot of small board makers around the world. They are actually installing it. They're the main guys that install it on any new boards or custom boards.
So Dave Daglio, if you might please comment on your experience in getting this installed, because you are one of our homeboys here in our Outer Cape posse. What was your experience in it?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So I looked at both this device and the Shark Shield, and we have young kids that throw their boards around and God knows what. So, I just kind of look at the stability of, the REPLA device. The hardware looked solid. The voltage is slightly different, but it looked to me to be really well put together. My experience so far, after literally hundreds of days in the water with a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 54-year-old, has been that it's performed, and it continues to stay good. As Dave knows, you have maintenance that you do on it about once a year, and that takes, I don't know, Dave, what would you say, 10 minutes?
It does.
Half an hour, which consists of putting a new sticker on, and then kind of soaking it in ketchup to keep the oxidation down. And other than that, it's very, it's simple. It just runs.
And how did you get that installed, Dave Daglio?
Is Vec on the line? Vec put it in for me. He was very gracious after he had done one and figured it out. He said it came a lot easier.
So a couple more questions rolled in. So thanks. So tell us how long this has been on the market. I think you made reference to this being sort of sparked by those 6 fatalities. How long ago was that?
We actually started 8.5 years ago. I actually started on the development and the research about 8.5 years ago, and the first product was actually built into the board. So when you bought, you actually had to buy one device, and have it built into your board. There was no plug and play. It took us another 2 years to develop the product that you could actually plug and play between boards. So it's actually been available for just over 6 years now.
Yeah, demand drives innovation, right?
Oh, you get it paid. A lot of work, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us about the warranty and how might that be handled where you're there and we're here, and how do we distribute in the US?
Okay, so currently we're selling it because it is actually a handmade and it's quite low volume manufacture. We manufacture every part of it here in Australia. So the warranty is actually 12 months, and we don't have a distributor yet in the US. We are looking to do that, and we want to increase, obviously more installers in the US and a technician or technical support there. Currently, we ship it into the US, which takes about 5 days to get there, 5 to 6 working days with DHL. The shipping cost is around $30 US to get one into the US. That's the complete system. To install it usually takes around 1 to 2 days, depending on your installer. But we obviously, because of COVID, we were going up the East Coast to train installers. I've trained everybody from San Diego up to LA. So there's quite a few installers over on that side. But the East Coast is definitely on the to-do list to get over there and train the guys up and get some technical support there.
Yeah, Carolina, Florida as well. Couple more questions. So this is a big question that everybody on this call is going to connect with, and you probably would as well, familiar from Ocean Guardian, is the shock and jolts from the antenna. If you could comment to that.
Okay, so I don't have the chart, but the actual...
Lost him right at the key question. Sorry, guys. He'll be right back.
Maybe Heather, I can answer under my experience. So if he's back, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would say, I mean, you can get shocked if you wrap your hands around the board. Once in a while, it'll give you, a zap. One of my sons has an Ocean Guardian device. It's a very similar level of shock. I usually, to get the board out of the water, I just kind of drag it from the leash. I find that easier. There's no on-off switch on the REPLA, which is both good and bad. So to turn the device off, you have to lift the board and dry out the 2 prongs underneath, which takes about 5 seconds. So I lift the board by the leash, let the water come out of the REPLA, takes about 5 seconds, and then it turns off, and then I just pick it up and take the board out. Did that make sense?
Yeah, so that's good feedback. So Dave Smith, Dave Duglia jumped in on that question, which is great firsthand testimony. Is that for Jim and others who have that question? Does that satisfy?
It's definitely you need to be trained to actually, not trained, but you actually have to adapt to the system. So I'll just show you quickly. Basically, if you pick your surfboard up by the center of the board at any time, whether it's on or off, it will turn off. You will not get a shock from this. You will only get a shock if you put your hand near the tail or near the nose where the electrodes are. Now, that shock is only when the board is inverted. So the board has to be upside down. Now, when you're surfing on your board, if the board is this way up, standard way you would surf on it, paddling and using the board as normal, you will not feel any shock. There is a mild tingle, but it's totally different to anything that the other products have. So we do have a lot of people that have used the other systems, and they're using this one, and it's been a totally different experience for them. So this is what happened also in Reunion Island, a lot of places. It's been one of those things where people have tried other systems, and it's had to prove it itself.
Yeah, congratulations. I mean, this is a massive effort, and we're thrilled to have some options, and we're thrilled to just learn more and build relationships and try to just get the word out. Because obviously this is a very big hotbed for us here. Dave Dagley, I just want to pick up on a quick comment. I heard you say that you've surfed hundreds of days, and you've got small children, which is a big concern to lots of folks on this call. Where do you typically surf? What beaches do you go to?
You know, I go out to Newcomb's, and you know, as you know, Newcomb is filled with, you know, people, usually with the Ocean Guardian device, Dave. But you know, people are using it, and if for those of you who have not used the Ocean Guardian device or the REPLA device, I agree with you, Dave. You have to get used to it, but you will get a light shock from time to time. And then there is an art form to getting your board out of the water, because you know, at some point you've got to touch the sides of the board, but it's nothing you can't live through. You know, I'll hear my 12-year-old complain about it, but he goes out and surfs anyhow.
Better than a bite.
Yes,
Yeah.
better than a bite. That's what I tell him.
Yeah, my friend Sherry's here, and she has teenagers, which, you know, we have the annual concern about who's going to sneak out of the house in the month of August and go surfing.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I see a lot of compliments to Jim's surf technique. I'm not sure that's pertinent here. Ashley Penn, any questions from your house? Mike Labreche, Bob May, Bob Wagner? No, all set. Installation support. So Backgage is asking about installation support, and obviously you won't be able to come here this year and teach us how to install it. But it sounds like you have some notions around coming to the East Coast and lining up with folks who, you know, would potentially take on installations. And so that's the first effort that I heard you describe. And then perhaps subsequently, if someone were doing work on an install and they had an issue, would you be open to having them call back to you, or do you have sort of like a center of expertise in San Diego or Los Angeles, or?
Look, I'm happy to offer that support directly. I have, obviously there's a little bit of time delay, but yeah, we definitely offer that support direct from the manufacturer, from the headquarters.
Yeah, so Matt Gage, your name came up yesterday as someone that I thought would be interested. Let me just shred comments. Lots of folks are offering to come actually to see you in New South Wales and talk about it more. Okay, so I think people are feeling jazzed up because they're excited about this. So we really appreciate your time, and hopefully it was good for you to talk to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 people all at once instead of 13 emails and phone calls. And I can guarantee you this: we've recorded this call. I'm going to distribute it widely, and I'm 100% sure that everybody on this call is going to talk to some other people in the days ahead. I think I overlooked a double check. Dave Pike, I didn't mean to overlook you. Do you have any questions as well? If you do, just drop them in the chat. Sorry, I didn't mean to overlook you. You were first and yet last. Another question too, is there maybe a YouTube video on installations? I think the answer is yes. I think I saw quite a bit about REPLA on YouTube.
Yeah. Sorry, can I just say, just regarding to Dave Daglio's question, as far as the switch off device goes, we've actually updated this system now, so it actually has a fastest turn off. So rather than 5 seconds, it actually turns off now in less than half a second. And we've actually put more isolation around the front electrode, so you get less chance of having an accidental sort of, you know, tingle from the system.
Wow, that's great, Dave. That would make a big. That'll make a big difference.
Yeah, this update has only been in the last 2 months.
So, Dave, just to be clear, my device uses the same technology. My device takes 5 seconds of kind of being out of the water to turn off. It now happens in like half a nanosecond, give or take.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, fantastic.
Demand drives innovation. That's the theme.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how long 5 seconds is when the waves are crashing on you and you're trying to hold it up. So, you know, that sounds far easier.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It looks like a terrific design. So some good feedback. Congratulations. 3,000 active seem low for 8 years. Not a criticism, probably just an inquiry.
Sorry, yeah, getting back on that. Like, this has just been a labour of love for myself. Look, I've just put all my energy, time, and finances into making the product better and better, and research, development, and keeping people safe. Where a lot of the other products that are available, as far as deterrence, they just put all their energy into selling and marketing. I've put nothing into that, so it's really been sold by the person next to you that's surfing in the beach, and they love the system. They've tried everything else. They know it doesn't fail on them. They're not going back to the shop every 5 minutes. And so, this is a product that is robust and will work all the time. We didn't release it 6 years ago for the pure reason that it wasn't 100% user friendly. And so now we are really happy with it. So, like I said, we would have a bigger market if we put all that energy into marketing.
So I might suggest that we put you on a TV show. Maybe you have it there. We have it here called Shark Tank, where individual entrepreneurs can bring forward their ideas and try to accelerate their growth. So we'd be super inspired to see that happen.
Yeah.
I don't think. What's that?
I actually did the Shark Tank 5 years ago in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then I actually requested to do it in the US, but they said I had to be a US citizen to go on the show there.
Oh, that's a drag. That's a drag. Well, listen, we very much look forward to having you come for a visit, and I can guarantee you we can create quite a large personal audience or in-person audience. I mean, that's what we do, is bring information into people that are here in our constituency. So let's, make sure we stay in touch and make that happen soon. And I think you'll probably have some follow-up, some folks on this call tonight.
Yeah, thanks very much for everyone's time and their interest. And I'd love to get over there and explain it in person. And obviously, the people attack on surfers.
Yeah, so everybody stay safe, and I'll wrap the call. I will mail a recording to everybody on this call, as well as some folks who registered and did not attend, and you should feel free to share that very generously. All right, all. Thanks so much. Have a good night. Dave Smith, have a good day, and be well.
Thanks very much, Heather.
All right, thanks all. Good night.
Bye. Bye.